Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Shank 2. Let's hop in. We have 3 more levels to go. Why can I all of a sudden play as the female character? Interesting. So it seems almost like it would have been DLC or something at some point if this game was a little bit longer. We have only 2 options, a scythe that has like a large amount of knockback but is slow, or a sword which is fast, and then almost certainly you need speed more than anything else in this game. And then we have a revolver which has a slow speed, or a Uzi which is a fast speed, which I guess we'll go with Uzi. And then grenades, mines, and molotovs all seem to be about the same. Yeah. I like the idea of potentially playing as Karina, but why aren't we actually playing as her potentially throughout the entirety of the game? Why do we only get to play as her at this very end? And interestingly, I guess the question is, why specifically in this one level? Unless I've done something different in launching the app this time. Like I've totally forgotten what buttons even do what. Seems like you can shoot birds. Otherwise you've got like massive explosions going on here. But yeah, immediately we're dying again and the audio is real loud. Let's check. So the ship says justice. Inherently, this feels like they wanted you to perhaps not fight the guys as much, which I guess you're hitting that point here where you've got to break yourself of any kind of like problems with women killing men or men killing women, which is still an issue certainly when you look at the percentages of male enemies, female enemies in games. She's drinking alcohol. At a certain level, it does almost become a question about why not just have the game be about Karina and Shank 2, not even really involve the first Shank character, or very minimally involve him. He could have been the damsel in distress, with Karina having to save him and potentially unlocking him later on after the first playthrough. Like, in a lot of ways, these kills are even more brutal. As far as what she's doing.
Get over here. Come here.
I don't understand what I'm doing, and I'm not even... I've slept since the last recording again, so I don't remember the right weapons. Like, what gun is it that even shoots the gun? Like, I'm still trying to figure out which gun it is. Like, how do you shoot guns? Y is not doing it, X is not doing it, B is not. B does it. Okay. But then you have these knives. They're labeled as knives. And then you have a whole sequence here that you could have missed. And since we got a bio for a character named Cyclops, I assume we're going to fight a character named Cyclops. It looks like you could climb up here and open this, but doesn't seem like there really is a case. You have to open this. And then it gives me some landmines and some alcohol to drink. It kind of feels like there should have been more split sections like this where you could move around and find more extra stuff. I just don't really believe that that's really the case in previous levels so much. And at the end of the day, this level is not going to be big enough. It really is just not going to be big enough to accommodate the level of levels I would like, or the length of levels. We got a big health there. Notice how we're kind of getting stuck against the wall when we really shouldn't be stuck against the wall there. We oddly are not going to probably be fighting any of the Amazonians, which I could see them making an argument that it would feel a little segregated if Karina is the only character you can play as to fight the female Amazonian cult people. This really slows you down, though, holding these knives. Yeah, let's see if we can even really get a big juggle. Oh, I guess she does probably have a pretty decent juggle. But I can't help but feel like we are still really just struggling on this. We're still getting tutorial prompts here at the pretty much end of the game. Or at least far enough, close enough to the end of the game to not really justify that. I don't even know what I just hit because it's so visually busy. I guess I was supposed to climb up here, and then slide on this, and then slide on this, and then pounce on this guy. Which that's another great example of something that would be highly cool looking and cinematic when done correctly, and just a mumbling mess for for like most instances where you're not going to be playing perfectly. Again, we're just pretty much given alcohol there because they know you're not going to be able to pass it any further.
Thank you so much.
At a certain level, the pounce is just way too powerful. We still don't really know what the deal with the bunnies are. I assume it's just drugs.
Get over.
Yeah, if you really want to succeed on this, just always initiate a pounce. There's no cooldown timer or any element around the pounce that penalizes you, short of it leaving you locked in an attack for a small amount of time. Which that's pretty livable as a trade-off. Half of these weapons that you're given an opportunity to use are worse than your default attack weapons. At least they feel that way. See, that may have been the boss Cyclops killed there just incredibly easily. And I really don't get an explanation as to why you're playing as Karina here. Really just, it feels like you would, by default, play as someone else, play as Shank yet again. I'm very confused. Keys, human cargo. Maybe the idea here is they only made one animation. That is somewhat believable. Or maybe the idea is that Shank, as a character, just would not care. So you have to play as Karina for the storyline to even make any sense. Multiple times now we've seen this lead towards characters just being stuck on the ground. Interesting. I almost feel like this is just going to keep on happening no matter what I do. I guess it's more just a case that the level is not done. Interesting air grab opportunities. Definitely feels though like we're just working our way through a wave. So now are we possibly freeing more people? I guess that's the idea. Inevitably, this has to have been the point where the game makers and the creators realized that they had screwed up and that they just have to finish those achievements that they had already created in those challenges. So now they're just throwing a marathon collection of enemies at you. And this may be a problem in that there's just too many people. Like I can't really come back and get that.
Come here.
So I need to keep juggles going. I need to really only try and pounce when there are enemies fairly far away. I need to play very cautiously on this aspect. And there's, I suppose, a question as far as whether or not I'm getting achievements or progress towards achievements when I die. I think I probably am. And inherently, I need to survive. Which is drink alcohol, grab a key, drink some more alcohol, use this to free this one. And that's just going to trigger a boss fight. So the struggle to even this point is just set up to what looks like might be a Donkey Kong reference. Okay. it doesn't seem like any kind of pounce will actually hurt this guy. And he does seem to just kind of knock you down. So it seems like the move here is to power through this. When he knocks you down, he doesn't actually seem to hurt you. That being said, trying to take out the other guys seems like a mistake of some sort. So it runs seemingly between scenarios where you find the pattern or don't find the pattern. Right, grab. These guys are not going to give me enough health, though. So I don't really know how to get health up. Like, you can try for like juggles, but it doesn't really seem to work. So like every other previous fight, maybe I should think about like a different loadout. Yeah, it really is just all about dodging, which so much of this game feels like you really need to get really good at doing that. But I don't know if you actually can get that good at dodging. Grab, get the cutscene, because the cutscene does do a decent amount of damage. But mostly it is just around the idea of not taking too much damage while dealing a decent amount of damage. The fact that you can have such a drastic different experience just based on whether you get into the movement and the motion and the pattern and get effectively lucky highlights an imbalance and just a lack of polish on a game like this. Let's see. I'm just trying to take this real carefully, and you can see he's glowing. Like, we still have a quarter here as far as health though, so unless we could really get a second cycle here. Yeah. Scythe, I guess we'll try, and revolver we'll try, and Molotovs we'll try. I think the Scythe is probably too strong here, and I'm getting like one hit on it when the sword was getting a much better level of hit. Yeah, now I'll give this a college try, but it really does feel like I screwed up here. And the animation is never going to show the extra weapons you have. It'll only focus on your default Shanks. Which your default Shanks look too much, frankly, like the Shanks that Shank uses, so they really should have maybe spiced it up and had hers made out of like wood or plastic or something else. Something that just distinctively looked visually different. I do not know how I succeeded there. I have no clue why I won there. I feel like there's a decent chance the game literally just decided to cheat in my favor to let me win. You see a scene like this where it just shows her off, shows off some cleavage, shows off her buttocks, but inherently only gives her a couple of sentences of dialogue to say, which is pretty pathetic. Speaking of pretty pathetic here, 23 minutes, 9 deaths. The score is only this high, I imagine, because of either the amount of goon kills, which is fairly high, or just because the level up until that final boss was fairly difficult, fairly easy. As far as Rebel Intel goes, let's see. We got Tanker and we got the Cyclops, and I guess we in the past went back and unlocked Karina, which does this does leave the idea that some of these collectibles that have been locked before could be unlocked in later levels, which it would kind of make more sense if everything was based per level, because now if I'm trying to potentially unlock this, I'd have to go look at some kind of walkthrough to figure it out. I do notice a backstory thing here. Karina heads the rebellion against Magnus's militia. She is a weapons expert, specializes in the scythe and sword. She has known Shank since they were teens, but they were never romantically involved, as the children of the orphanage were treated as siblings, which inherently I think that does paint you in a corner to not have a romantic interest when you really could have had one. Now it would be fairly creepy if they're raised as teenage siblings for them to potentially start a relationship now, which inherently you would almost assume that you might want to use Karina as the Princess Peach who gets kidnapped in a Shank 3 if you were going to make a Shank 3. Looking at Primo's description here, it's barely 2 sentences. Local mechanic Primo moonlights as a bus driver between towns. His buses were able to make the Kessel run in less than 12 minutes, which is a misquote of Star Wars. And then again, we'll have to close the pop-up. It does feel like we've made some more progress, particularly in that level, towards potentially finishing some of these quests, but none of those are actually going to give you anything, in particular the ones that we made progress to, where all the ones that would unlock a new outfit are pretty much locked between much more difficult challenges, and I just don't see a real value in doing that. Like, let's just double check. If we were to select this, like, we still haven't unlocked the sledgehammer as a weapon, and you can't play as Karina in this level. Let's see. Y doesn't do anything. X doesn't do anything. Right bump, right trigger, left trigger. Anything on the D-pad. Left stick, right stick. Nothing there is letting you select a different character. So it definitely feels like this is either DLC, where we're going to play as Karina for the rest of the game, which doesn't make any sense because Shank didn't really die or anything in Rumble in the Jungle, or we're going to be back to playing as Shank for the last couple of levels, and then you'll get exactly one campaign level where you get to play as Karina, which isn't much of a sales point. There's very little game here. I have to admit, it's incredibly shallow, and arguably this is the kind of thing that they should probably give away for free at this point, or at the very least merge Shank 1 and Shank 2 into a larger product and call it a deluxe edition. And still, even at that, they should probably sell it for $10 at most. This is not particularly satisfactory. Even if you did have all of Shank 1 and Shank 2 together and got it for cheap, I'm still not sure the levels in Shank 2 in particular are good enough to really care about as far as campaign mode, and none of the multiplayer survival mode is going to matter at all. It was a waste of their production budget to make a survival mode in online. There should just be a campaign mode that's 2 or 3 times longer. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to further follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.